Hello, everyone. My name's Dixon. Am I the only one speaking then, or is Joyce, are you going to say hello or anything?
Yeah. I was going to jump in before you, but that works too. I was going to introduce you, but we could do it this way. I just wanted to say thank you for everyone for tuning in. I'm pleased to introduce Dixon, the Marketing Director of Majestic. And as most of you might or may not know, Majestic is the world's most comprehensive source of backlink information and is used by tens of thousands of SEO specialists around the globe to monitor and research backlink profiles. The link intelligence that they provide helps businesses be more competitive online, no matter what industry they're in. And Majestic data is also really important when analyzing your linker score and Kaboo. So that's why we're really excited about having you, Dixon, to present. And before I kick off to you, I just want to make sure to let everybody know about the Q&A after the webinar, but we're going to do things a little bit differently. So we'll do some questions at the end, but if you have any important questions throughout, because we're going to go a little bit off piste on this webinar, just put them into the question section of the GoToWebinar interface, and I'll ask them throughout, and I'll interrupt you, Dixon, as you go on with your presentation.
Great.
With that, I'll pass that to you then.
Hey guys, well thank you very much for coming in, whether live or after the event. Nice to have you here. What I was going to do, what Paul and Joyce have asked me to do, is to go and have a quick look at some of the bits of Majestic that people don't often get to. Majestic is much bigger than most people realize. There's a lot more that you can do with Majestic. And we don't even cover some of it in our demos, one-to-one demos and that kind of thing. So I'm going to go through a few bits and pieces, and that's why I asked Joyce to shout if there's questions you want to bring in, because I might go off on an angle that's not of interest, or you find something that you don't like or don't understand. I'm going to start by saying that you can have Majestic your way. This is how I have my homepage when I log in to Majestic, and it's probably quite possibly different to the way that you set yours up. And that's because you can change all of your general settings in Majestic. So if you wanted to, inside Explorer, for example, have it so that your tab order goes differently, you can change the orders of the tabs at the top here. If you wanted to have this homepage set up so that you've got a dashboard instead of the original homepage, then you can move those around. So there's all sorts of things. You can change these toolbar icons. You can change up at the top so that you've got different shortcuts at the top of the page and stuff as well. So you can really change things to have Majestic working in the way that suits you. And we kind of encourage people to move over to this form of dashboard, really, because it's a much quicker way to get a lot of the tools that are out there. And so let's jump in and show you some of the things that I do. What I think I'll do is I'll start by analyzing an industry. I'm going to go and have a look at let's go and have a look at Moz versus Majestic, for example. So moz.com. Now, what people tend to do is try and get this information coming back about trust flow and citation flow. They usually don't realize that they've got all this other information if you scroll down the page, but we'll come back to that, because most of this stuff is in the top in the different tabs up here, and my tabs may be in a different order to yours because I've changed them around a little bit. But what people don't really understand is that it's very easy to start comparing websites together. So if I want to compare Moz to Majestic, and I wanted to compare, if I can spell Majestic, and if I want to compare those to Kaboo in, calq in, what do I put in? I'll put in Ahrefs and start comparing things together. Then it quickly comes back with comparisons. Oops, Ahrefs doesn't exist, I wish. Comes out with comparison stuff of all the different websites, and you've got things together. But when you come to link building, what you really want is to start realizing where you can get cheap links or low-hanging fruit. So you can compare these sites together and get their raw data, but then you can also quickly flick to their history data and compare these sites with each other. So I can sit there and say, well, in my opinion, Moz is probably bigger than everybody else here in this list, and so I've got some work to do if I want to catch Moz. I'm going to come back to topics, but this tool is probably the most underused tool in Majestic, and it's a really powerful tool. So what this tool does is, we call it Click Hunter. it has a look at all of the websites on the internet and allows you to put in actually up to 10 websites. So you can change this order and get up to 10. On the right hand side here, I've got the 4 that I've put in, but we can go and say, right, I want to go and find links that my competitors are getting links from, but I'm not. So I want to go and have a look at all the links that, you know, Moz are getting links from and I'm not. And if I click on these, whether I click on the right hand side or not, inbound are linking to Moz a lot, and they're linking to Kerbu, and they're linking to Ahrefs, not so much to Majestic. So, you know, that might be something I should do some work with, for example. And so then you've got the raw data underneath this, because this is a visualization of this chart. And very quickly you can start seeing, okay, inbound.org, okay, they're linking to Moz 6,000 times, not surprising. Ahrefs have been pushing their way out on inbound.org quite a lot, really, I'd say. Kerbu and Majestic, you know, less so, so we've got to do some work here. So we can start seeing how many links to all of the websites on the internet. So if we start seeing things with zeros, then we can start seeing our low-hanging fruit. So for Kerbu, here's some sites where you guys might want to go and get some links. Blogspot, Scoop, Blogspot, or Blackout World. They're linking to everybody except you guys, so that's probably a good thing for you anyway. And so you can of course download this information very easily as well. And on all of these, there's a download data button and get the whole lot list out. You can also very quickly compare these sites in Majestic Million, or have a look at them by topic as well. So this brings us neatly into the second tool that people never seem to use very much. And this is our bulk backlink checker. So this is just comparing 4 websites, but you can actually go to the whole tool and have a look at up to 400. So we can put in our same sites here. I'm going to go and put in a whole load of other ones. Let's go and have a look at Google, Bing.com. You can put 400 in here. It depends on your subscription level, 150 if you're on a silver account. Or you can upload a file of up to 100,000 of them if you want to. So you can then compare all these sites against each other. And this makes it really useful to be able to have a look at a whole industry sector against each other. So here we've got all of the sites, and we can see where the influence is. So something interesting, for example, is that Kerbu has some influence in the health sector and has some international links from international focused websites. So there's some strength there. You can use this for all sorts of things. I used it for putting all of the senators in at one point, and you could start seeing which senators you might want to influence if you were a drugs company, for example. It's also really powerful if you put in Twitter handles in here. You can start comparing people against each other, which is really, really powerful. So this is a really cool piece of kit because rapidly you can go and have a look at large amounts of websites. Also, I know Kerbu uses this kind of logic a lot and add a huge value layer by using the combination of trust flow and citation flow. Where websites have really low, 3, 4 trust flow and then 30, 40 citation flow, that's a real signal that a website has been gaining links which are not necessarily human driven. So really helpful to be able to have that. Next tool that I think would be useful for people to know about, and they don't. If you do find yourself penguined, penalized, hurt, whatever it may be, then there's sometimes some criticism and say, well, we haven't got all of the links that Google have got, and that's true. We have a separate crawl. We do not scrape Google. We don't go against their terms of good service. We're a very, very good bot. And so we've got our own view of the web. But what you can do in Google Webmaster Tools is export, I think, up to 100,000 links if you're really clever. And that's all the ones that Google are going to report. And you can put them into an upload file here, and you can upload all 100,000. Now, what that will do is reprioritize our web crawler and say, well, if we haven't got any of those links, could you go and recrawl those links? And that will take a couple of days, possibly, to update. And if we can't crawl the page, fine, or if the links have gone, fine. But we will then catch up and match up all of the data that Google has. And that's a really useful tool, because Google will give you the 100,000 links, but it will give you no clue as to which ones are good and which ones are bad, because they've got no flow metrics or page rank in their case. So this quickly gives you a good indication of what you can do, which good links are good and which ones are bad. So hopefully a useful thing. Also, particularly with things like Kerbu and stuff, if you want to go and have a look at websites that are on the same server, this is a really cool tool. So the neighborhood checker tool, you can also get to most of these tools, by the way, through this tools tab up the top here. Is great. So if I wanted to go and see, right, dixonjones.com, for example, how spammy is that website? Well, on the same IP number, oh, there's a secret. Look, Mel Carson on the same IP number as dixonjones.com, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. I've got this this car website that I use. I've got some other things. So I've got 15 domains on the same IP number. If this suddenly turns into 500 domains on the same IP number, then I might have a problem, or it might be a very, very low quality site. But you can put in IP numbers into this IP checker, or you can put in websites, and it will show you all the websites that are coming back on the same IP. On the right-hand side, it'll also show you all the websites that are coming back on the same Class C subnet. So you can pretty much find out all the customers of the ISP from this methodology as well, which is pretty cool, I think. And then the other tools that I think really get underused include, where are we here? The keyword checker, which is not specifically for, well, I guess it is Penguin related, in that it'll start having a look at whether a keyword is overly SEO'd on the web, for example. So you might use the keyword checker. What this does is it goes and has a look through our index and has a look at all the phrases and how many times those phrases appear in URLs, in anchor text, in titles, on the whole web, not on an individual website. So if I wanted to go and see whether I'm better off looking for a savings account, oops, or perhaps a credit card, or an online banking, check my keywords. Again, I could put in thousands here if I wanted to. We can see very quickly how many times the word savings account appears in our index, in the title, in the anchor text of keywords, in the anchor text of links, for example, in the titles of pages that have those links, or in the URLs. So you can get an idea comparatively of how much the world has been trying to optimize around these kind of things. So it'd be a lot harder, you would assume, to rank for credit card than it would for online banking or for savings account based on this data. You can also change that around a little bit, play with broad matching as opposed to phrase matching, and play around with those kind of things as well. There's some other things that are new that we've used in Site Explorer that people haven't used, and one really exciting one. Let's go and have a look at Kerbu. I like this anchor text because our anchor text tab is now dynamic. So some people have seen these, and you can grab this and save the cloud and put it into your reports and stuff like that. But if you wanted to go and have a look at link risk, you can click on link risk, and it will show you all the links that have got the words link risk. This is out of the top links at the moment, really, and it's because I've changed the name. You can clean the anchor text out there as well, reset things back, and go and have a look at other things. So it's a quick way of drilling down to see how people are linking through, and so you can see the different anchor texts and the links coming through. Also, people don't tend to realize that these buttons here you can click on, and you can go and have a look at these links very, very quickly. You don't have to go and individually drill down and then start your search again. So it's very quick to go and drill down on things. The other way of traveling around here is to use this button here. And so if you wanted to go to this inbound link, for example, do you want to go to the URL? Do you want to go to any bit of our Site Explorer specifically? Do you want to go and have a look at the backlinks or the anchor text of that? Do you want to download all the links for that URL straight away? Go to any of the other tools. You can do all of these things straight out of this button here. So this button is really, really useful. It looks like it's just a cog, but frankly, it's a quick way of getting around absolutely everything. If you do the add to bucket, button, then that will just add things to a central location, which is really powerful if you're going through lists of links. Because if you're going through lists of links, you think, don't care about that, don't care about that, don't care about that. I want that one. And just press the add to bucket, and then you can carry on doing that. And your bucket list just carries on going. And then up at the top here, you can just click on your bucket and off you go, and you can go and find out a whole load more stuff about your bucket, which I think is very, very useful because I can then go and have a look at the list. The last thing about this is that when you click on this button here, different people we found use Majestic in different ways. So when you click on that button there, you may want to go and have a look at the Site Explorer elements for this button, or you might want to go to the website itself. So you can change the default action here, and then this goes back into your settings, and you can change what you want to do, whether you want to go straight to the Topics tab, or to Site Explorer, or to the URL itself, or whether you want to create a report, an advanced report for it. So there's a whole load of different things that I don't think most people use. We look at the stats of the different people using the sites, and these are some of the cool tools. And up here, you can get an idea of how much you have not used your website, your Majestic. So this account is a level 9 account. So I use Majestic, and I'm still only on level 9. And what we have is a competition in here that you can play and you can join in on. And it's an award system that allows you to start making sure that you've been using all the bits and pieces. So for example, maybe you haven't personalized, which is something we went into a little earlier. So you haven't personalized stuff, so you can go and have a look at the different buttons that you've not done within your account, for example. So using the awards is pretty powerful. Using the awards is also powerful because you can also get business out of Majestic as well. So there is, on the other side of this, a public-facing front for Majestic. So if I go to here, these are the people that are currently doing the best on Majestic in terms of using the data on the website, not through the API like Kirby do, but through the actual website. So these guys are all doing considerably better than me. They're on there a lot, and this is the global leaderboard. Now, I'm based in Birmingham right now in the UK, so if I wanted to go and have a look at the local one, this is now bringing up people and websites that are on the top 10 around me. So these are the people that are effectively close to me. So if I was an agent, a company that was looking for a website, oh, there's me. Sorry, an expert in Majestic, then it would be on here. And if you want to go and talk to one of these people, then you can. So if I click on here and I want to go and talk to some of these, and then some of them that are on gold accounts, I can then click and approach. So the leaderboard is useful. It's a way of seeing how well you're doing. And it takes you through a whole load of different training methodologies and exercises. Let me go back to this page now, because this is quite new. We set this up back in February this year, and so just last month. It's a dashboard, really. So what we're trying to do here is to allow you to get quick access to a whole load of different bits and pieces. So this one's got 2 subscriptions on it because it's got some API access and things as well. But if you want to go to your account and stuff, you can from here. But there's other bits that are down here that are very useful. Firstly, this page here, this section here that says our interns made awesome stuff with the API. This will change. When you're just coming into Majestic for the first time, it'll take you through some optional training demos, training webinars, trying to get you into using Majestic properly. And then this left-hand section here is just taking a feed from the blog, so it's telling you the latest news that Majestic's got. We've fed in our data into the system, so this is how much data and how the last time that we updated our index. But then we've got a mini dashboard that comes down here. Now I tend to hide some of this stuff, so I get bored of this quite quickly. So I then hide that and just come straight down to my mini dashboard. So here I've got some quick access to the domains that I've verified. If you've got a free account, you still get a mini dashboard, and these are the pages, the sites that are on that I own, so I can have verified domains. I've got some tracking reports. I do track what some of these guys are doing out there. I don't quite know why I've got Vulcan.site, but I've got about 68 tracking reports going. Tracking reports are really cheap in terms of resources to make on Majestic. And I would strongly urge anybody to immediately go and get all of their customers and their customers' competitors and set up tracking reports. And you can set them up and use them in folders. There's a button up here, which is sort of a folders button. You can have a look at you can store them in folders by customer. But by setting up tracking reports, that will, every time our index updates, take a snapshot of the trust flow, the citation flow, the backlink count, the topical information as well. So all of the key points over time. And that's a lot more than we take if you didn't get it in advance, because we're not going to record what we've got, something like 3 trillion URLs. We're not going to record the trust flow every single 24-hour period or 36-hour period and store that. We've got the backlink data, and there we go. So if you want to start tracking something, do it now and just have it going, because in 6 months' time, you're going to want to know whether you've done better or whether you've done worse. And your flow metrics are going to tell you that, but only if you set the tracking reports up. So set them up. We also automatically start recording bookmarks here. So there's all sorts of stuff down here. Clearly, I've got some interest in finding some partners here. My wife is going to kill me when she sees that one, but Match.com, plenty of fish. So there's my last comparisons. So it's recording that information as well. These are actually ones in my bucket list. So we should be able to find here the inbound links that I put into my bucket list a little earlier on. So somewhere down here, there will be the inbound links that I grabbed earlier on, and they've put them in there. So this dashboard becomes very, very useful as a quick way of jumping around the system. But the last thing that we put in, and it's in a really weird place, and I apologize for that, is this best new backlinks email alert system. And that's probably the most recent big launch, apart from going into space, which some of you might have seen. We have the ability now to send you emails either every index cycle, which is currently running at around about 30 hours, or every week or every 2 weeks. So you can choose when you're going to get your email alerts. Then you can choose which websites you want your email alerts for. So if I want to start getting kerbu.com, all I do is add it and in there. Now, what I do find is that these email alerts will come through and will tend to have links from the same websites again and again and again and again. And that's because I've got relationships with some of those websites. So what you can do is when those emails come in, or you can do it from here, you can have a suppression list as well. So in suppression list here, there are websites that I communicate on a lot, so I'm going to keep on getting links from them. So I've put those into here so that I suppress them. I'm also decided to suppress any no-follow links, because in my experience, I don't really want to know what the no-follow links are for SEO purposes. So that, again, this gives you a really good chance to not even have to come into Majestic. You can just set this stuff up and forget it, and then it will just jump in every day, or every other day, and then or every week or every month. And send you some information on new links coming in. And it doesn't give you all of the links, it gives you the best links. So it gives you the best new links that are coming in, either to you or your competitors. So hopefully it's something useful for you. Down the bottom, if you want to go to some videos, that's great. But what I'm going to just show you here is these browser extensions. So these browser extensions are things that you probably will want to have on your website. Although if you've got the Kerbu one, that's great as well, because the Kerbu one has a lot of this data as well. But I'm now on. Yeah,
sorry,
go on.
can I jump in just before we move on to the next section? I've just got a question here from NWise. Can you show us how to go to the backlink alert email setup page? Is it just from that mini dashboard that you set them up on?
Yeah, there's 2 ways to get to it. So this dashboard page is one way to get to it. So you've got to scroll down to email alerts, and that's how you can set up a whole load. So you can see here, I've got 5 set up. Just put in a new email. You can also put in a URL as well. So you'll notice I've put in my Twitter profile today, actually, because we've just taken the Majestic Twitter profile this morning, and so I've just set that up to see if I get any new links to that. So you just put the email, the website that you want in here. If you put here, I've got ahrefs.com without anything after it, that's going to look for the whole domain. If I put or majestic.com, if I put majestic.com /, that would be telling me that I probably want to go for the page. That would define as the page at majestic.com rather than the domain. And then blog dot, you can put in subdomain as well. So you can change the scope based on whether you put in an individual page, or whether you put in a subdomain, or whether you put in a root domain. So just go for that.
That's great. Thank you.
There's another way that you can do it though, because for other people they'll be working in a different kind of way. So what a lot of people will do is they'll be looking for a website. Let's go to majestic.com, and then they'll be having a look at their new links tab here. So this goes through and shows you your new links day by day, and so you can see. You can drag over here and say, right, I had a spike here. What the heck happened on the, whatever that day was, 24th, between the 24th and 27th. So I can drag over here, and this data will now update on the fly from the 24th to the 27th. I think it's got a little bit of a problem on the mobile version. And then I can see the individual links that are coming in for those days. So here are the links that have come in, inbound.org, linked to me on the 23rd. It was still there on the 24th. Interestingly, it was deleted when we went back and crawled it again on the 29th. There does seem to be a little bit of fun and games happening on inbound.org at the moment. And so we can go and see the best links that came in that particular day. So we can see probably what's happened out there. And here, these are linked all by page at the moment, but you can then flip this around to subdomain. So you can then say, right, give me the new links based on the domains, and this is another way to get to the email button. So if you get to this system, this is pretty much the email that's going to come through to you as to where your links are coming from. And then if you press this button, that'll set up your email, and that's now set up Majestic again. But it's set it up here, and then just press the add button, and it's added it. So now I've got it twice, which probably I shouldn't have. But there we go. So that makes sense, hopefully. So what else we got in here? I think the other things that I would talk about, I think, are a little less elaborate. There are some other tools in here that we can go through, and there is a process that I follow. And let me just go and bring up the process. But if you guys have got questions, then I'm more than happy to jump off into the questions. But let's go and have a quick look at the process that I use for my link building world, really, or how I recommend that people go through it. I'm not going to go through all of the slides here, but I do want to go through a couple of them just to show you some process, really. For me, I think that there's a whole set of processes that you will have to go through on Majestic or in link building generally. Firstly, if you're an agency, you're going to be jumping through all sorts of hoops trying to get the client in the first place. So the very first thing is this prospecting phase. So the tools that you can use in Majestic for prospecting, the free tools are great, the free toolbar is great, and the stuff that just comes back on the homepage is good. So if you're just going around the web and you've got the Majestic toolbar, then you can go and see whether somebody is a useful prospect to hit. Or if you're trying to hit an industry, the bulk backlink checker tool is great, because you can just put in every website in the industry and then go and see if those websites are good enough for you to approach, if you like. It's also good if somebody phones you up and says, hey, I want to be #1 for online dating, and I've got this brand new website, and you can get some idea very quickly using the bulk backlink checker or the bulk or the backlink history tool to see whether they're asking you to do the impossible. If their trust flow is 0 and the market leader's trust flow is in the 70s, be very, very wary about taking the business on. However, if you do take the business on, then the pitch phase is very, very useful, or pitch or audit phase. There are some things in Majestic that people don't use that can be very useful in audits. The particular one that I think is good is the Pages tab. So the Pages tab will immediately tell you, without you even having to do an audit, whether the website can be crawled properly, whether the site is getting properly crawled, whether there's 404s on the site, you can find out whether there's 301s or redirects in there as well. So that's a really useful tool, because it'll tell you how influential web pages are on the website individually, and how many links are going to the individual pages, and whether they've been crawled properly. If they haven't been crawled properly, then there's two things that are happening. Either their web server or their web host is blocking our bot specifically, which is entirely possible. In which case, one of the things you can do is ask them to sort that out, because that has some downsides, and we'll have more downsides for them as they go on in life, because we're paying attention to who's blocking our bot and why they might be doing that. I don't want to say too much more than that at the moment, but this tool is very useful then to be able to do a quick audit of a website and see whether their site is properly being crawled without having to go into Google Webmaster Tools or whatever it may be. Okay, that in a nutshell is the really quick things about Majestic that I didn't think people would know. Has anyone got any questions? Tell me something, ask me something I don't know.
I've got two questions for you from the audience. Right. The first one is there an API call for the data from ClickHunter?
There is. So we call everything that we build our website on is done through the API as well. And we have a different website at developer support. I killed my cookies earlier on today. Majestic.com. There you go. There's the URL. So all of the APIs are here. So I think that the command that we use for that is the which one is it? Can't remember.
If we can't spot it now, we can add the link to the blog post afterwards.
It's one of those, and I've just forgotten which one it is, but I'll promise you that one of those is the ClickHunter command. I think it's so grab it from there.
I'll make sure to put that in our blog post on the write-up. Don't worry. The next question I have is, sorry, other than the appending of metrics like trust flow, what are the other uses for the URL submitter?
Okay, I think the uses for the URL submitter. Well, actually, just going back to the API. Man, if you just for a second, if you want an API, you have to be on either a platinum. Well, usually you have to be on a platinum account to do anything with an API, because we don't give the API out to other people. Although you can tag into other technologies, and Kerbu is one of those where you can put your silver account or your normal account straight into a technology like Kerbu, and you don't need a platinum to do all that kind of stuff. So that's really sort of the background there. In terms of the URL submitter, what is that useful for? I think that it's pretty useful for quickly getting data that we may not have otherwise have got. So you don't have to just get it from Google Webmaster Tools. If you've got other data sources of links, then that's useful. You might, for example, have a list of 100,000 web pages, and you might be planning some PPC campaigns, and you want to know which of those pages you want to advertise on, for example. And we may not have all the data on all of them. So you could put them in there, and then a couple of days later, we've got some idea of trust flows for all of those pages. That's important because we then have topical information for all of those pages. So you can say, right, I am not going to advertise on all of the ones that have got an adult theme, for example, or I am not only going to advertise on the ones that have got an adult theme, for example. So you can then use it to sculpt other kinds of campaign. The other thing that you can use it for is for looking at people and Twitter accounts. So we've got this other cool tool out here. This isn't even a login, actually. We sponsored a hackathon or two last year, and we got the best people, and we said, hey, look, do you want to spend 6 weeks in the summer holidays playing with Majestic's data and coming up with weird stuff? And they came up with some really brilliant stuff, which is at labs.majestic.com. There's two things that I think are really cool. The first is this Majestic universe. I don't know if you know, but we we just took up a 3D printer into space, or got involved in that to print out a picture of the internet in space. But here's another visualization of the internet. And so what this does is it goes and has a look through all of the backlinks. This is actually using static data and starts accumulating them to say, right, as we go through the whole list, it would appear that Google is the biggest site. You can start seeing Facebook and YouTube are out here, or other big sites. And this thing kind of grows over time, for example. But we also got some other things in here, and the one that's really useful, and I think we're going to go and have a look at it. We've already given it a name, Social Explorer. I think in time we're going to improve upon this dramatically. So what this has done is it's taken the top 50,000 Twitter profiles that they had at the time, and you can quickly drill down and find the most influential people here. So, for example, let's say you want to go and find the most influential people in football. Nah. Motorsports. Nah. What have we got? Baseball, golf. Let's go for golf. So PGA, Cedar Point, Green Beer, Champions Tour. So you can see the most influential people in these Twitter profiles, which I think is a really useful thing. Fortunately, from here I've not got the add to URL, but some of these is useful. Right. Anyway, that probably went way off your question, to be honest with you. I apologize.
No, that was really,
but
no, that was
I
good.
this stuff. So there's all sorts of little bits around here that are quite cool. We've actually, if you guys want to do something that no one else in the world has done so far, if you've got an iPhone and you want to try this, and you've got an account on Majestic, don't do this if you haven't got an account on Majestic, and do log into your account before you download it. But if you've got an iPhone, go and type in Majestic Twitter client, and we've got an app up there that we haven't started talking about yet, because it's probably got some bugs. So there you go. So if you want to download that, then what you can do is you've got a Twitter client on your iPhone which has got all this topical trust flow in real time embedded into the Twitter client. So that means that you can then put a keyword into your Twitter client on your iPhone and have a look at anybody that's talking, and you can see how influential they are and in what topics, the top 3 topics for these people, by sliding left or right, Tinder style. And then if you're interested in those people, if you think they're influential, press the add to bucket button in your app, and that will appear with the URLs in your bucket list on your website, on the website. So if you want to do something that you've never done before, that's the secret for the session for you.
We'll definitely be using that after this. That sounds so cool. I've actually got one last question.
It's in alpha, so don't shout at me.
We'll submit all our bug reports, it's okay. The last one is, how often is the trust flow calculated on an average site?
Okay, so it's not calculated per site, it's calculated per index. So if I go to the homepage of the website, or my homepage here, on here we show you, if I show it, I've got it all hidden away. Oh, I've hidden, haven't I? So the fresh index calculates trust flow for every single URL in the index, and for every single domain, and for every single subdomain, around about every 30 hours. Now we're trying to get it down to 24, but it turns out that every time we spend a huge amount more on data centers, other things happen. So it would be great if we did it every day. Other people can add data quicker, so we do get the information, we crawl it quick, but we don't think it's particularly valuable knowing that there's a link there until we know how it fits in the rest of the world. So if you just want to find discovery, then BuzzSumo is really cool for that. It'll show it through Twitter, for example. If you want to know whether it's got any trust to it, or whether it's gathering any momentum, then you've got to do a bit of calculation, and you can't do a calculation on one URL at a time. We've got to do the calculation on 200 million URLs, 200 billions and trillions even in the historic index. So that calculation takes around about 30 hours at the moment. We also have the historic index, and the historic index is even bigger, and that takes about a month to update. Now, right now we're going through some server upgrades, and we didn't come out with one in February, and there's a post about it. Sorry, it's not often that happens. But that data then goes back for the best part of 10 years, and so the calculation is much bigger, and so it takes about a month to do. And when it does come out, then you've got information at the historic level. There's another thing that you should be wary about, apart from the fact that the historic index and the fresh index are completely separate calculations, same maths, but different data sets. It's apples and oranges a little bit. But where the apples and oranges really happen is URL versus subdomain versus root domain. So again, if I put in majestic.com here, and then press compare, then this is pulling it at the root domain level, but I've got all these other options to pull things back. And if I pull it back at the URL level, then all of the maths of the pages on the internet are done in one calculation, and then everything is wrapped up into a subdomain calculation and into a domain calculation. So you should, if you're comparing sites, you should either compare pages with pages, or subdomains with subdomains, or root domains with root domains. Because if you start to compare a root domain with a page, then you're going to get yourself into a case of apples and oranges, and you're not going to be comparing like with like. However, the short answer to the question is every 30 hours, and it's not done by site, it's done for the whole index.
That's really interesting. Okay, I've got two more from the audience here. Do certain subscriptions not include the Social Explorer? I don't seem to have access to it. That's from MYS.
So Social Explorer is not yet a paid product, so it's free. You don't need to log in. Just go to labs.majestic.com. You don't even need to log in. But let me just tell you so labs.majestic.com, and then click on the Social Explorer down the bottom here, this button here. So that URL has no login whatsoever. But right now, it's only working on static data that we recorded back in the summer of the top 50,000 Twitter profiles on the internet. So it's actually not really a product at the moment. It's cool, but what we want to do is develop this into something a bit more exciting. If you would like to use live data, well, okay, we've got the app that you can download, but also you can go back to Majestic here. You can in here just put a Twitter profile. So I've just bought this one today. So if you put in a Twitter profile, then it converts it through. So I got this one today. So this guy got it. That's great. It's a pity, really, because I've just had to give up this one. So I've taken a punch, shall I say. So obviously I've got a 301. I'll redirect all of my links. So you can put Twitter profiles straight into the Site Explorer results and get data there.
One last one. Could you please demonstrate the tracking reports feature in a little bit more detail?
Yeah, good call. So you can get your reports from here. Someone's got a feedback button going on. It's not me. Can't be me. Let's go and have a look at different things. The first thing that you can do is something I haven't said actually. If you just want new backlinks for anything, for a domain, for a website, for a URL, this button here is a raw export button, and it saves you faffing around. You can just say, press that button and give me all my links. That is the quickest way to go and get all of the backlinks to your website. If you try and do it through this button here, you're not going to get them all, and you're going to start thinking that we haven't got as many links as we've got, because this will only do something with something like the top 70 billion links, whereas this button here will download all of the backlinks. So Site Explorer is actually dealing with a very large subset of the data. That will give you all of them. But there's other reports you can get. So you can create a report. So let's go and say I want to go and have a look at these backlinks for this new URL of Majestic. Then you can create this report here. And then you get to go and have all sorts of reports, one of which is a tracking report. So as I said at the start, it's a really good idea to go and get lots and lots of tracking reports. I don't want to get it for the whole of Twitter. I just want it for that URL. Press create report, and it'll start building up a report of the trust flow of, in this case, the Twitter profile, but it could be a domain as well. So if I now go down to my reports page, you can see the other reports that I've got going up. So I've just set up the Majestic one, which I want to start tracking because I want to see whether my trust flow is going to increase over time. I'm hoping it will do. But I might also want to go and see what's been happening to majestic.seo.com, which is one that I set up ages ago. So I can see from here that I'll set this up, and it was last updated historically in January, but the fresh update was yesterday, and I can go and have a track here. Now, Majestic SEO is what we used to call ourselves, so I'm hoping that over time my trust flow has been dropping because I've been changing my links, hopefully, to go to majestic.com. But let's go and have a look. So I can have a look at the graphs here. And yes, my trust flow has been slowly dropping over time. So this is starting to build a picture of what's happening, and I can have a look at other things as well. So I can quickly go and have a look at my referring domains and whether that's been going up and down over time. I can go and have a look at referring IPs, or individual backlinks. But I can also pull it around now and start having a look at the topical information as well. So this is something that's pretty new, and there's a blog post about it actually, and it's probably worth going and having a look at the blog post because, well, I didn't design it, but it's starting to pull out whether you're increasing or whether a website is increasing or decreasing in a certain topic or category over time. So here we're having a look at reference and education, and we can start seeing that that these are the top 10 things that are about, and we can see that I've been gaining in reference and education. So if I think that that's because I'm saying something useful, that's great. Let's go and have a look at web design and development. Well, that's our prime category, and so we're in there. So you can then break down, have a look at the different categories, and see what we've been doing over time as well. And underneath this, we've got the data. So we've got the raw data in here. So every single day, we record all of the key points that come out of the get index item info command if your API ready, or the summary page basically every day, every time that the data updates. So actually, here's another good way to have a look at how often our data updates. So a couple of questions ago is how often does it update? Here is the exact time of all of our fresh index updates. 14th, 15th, 16th, 18th, we missed a day, 19th, 21st. So we're not every day, but we're most days. You can also drill down and have a look at the individual trust flows here as well. So these reports are really useful, I think, to start tracking things over time. And then you've also got these folder sections here, so you can start saying, right, I want to set up a folder for different types of data. So you can it's a bit clunky. You can create a folder and then move all the competitors for one customer into a selected folder, so you can have a look at things on the fly. Does that answer that question? Hopefully.
I think so. Yeah, I think that answers all the questions. So thank you so much. That was really interesting. I definitely learned some new things.
I think most people do. You know, every time I go through, I tend to find myself at different places in our data set, and clearly, nobody uses, well, I don't think anybody uses all of the data that's in Majestic and all of the systems and services. But in terms of what we've got, we are a search engine. We're a specialist search engine. You could, if you want, just put in a keyword in here, and it might even come back with some actual search results. Who knows? It does. Yeah. So we think that authorized.net is the most influential website for the word credit card, and that's because everybody has to go through authorized.net to get their credit cards authorized. And so now we show you why we've got different websites in our order. This is in alpha again. So even though we are a search engine, we're not quite as cool as Google, and we never want to be. But what we do want to do is be able to show you why we think authorized.net is bigger than payanywhere.com or North American bankcard.com, for example. So we hope to get this better over time as well. Yes, sorry, Joyce. You see, I keep on finding other stuff that I think is interesting.
Well, this is the whole point. This is what we meant by off-piste. So this is great. No, that's good. I feel like there was a lot of secrets told about Majestic that a lot of people may or may not have known. So that was good. Well,
if nothing else, you're the first people we've told publicly that I've got an iPhone app that's actually in the store, because I'm scared to tell anyone because I know it can crash. But just start it again.
It's okay. Wait, it's a safe space. We can.
Okay.
Good. So I think we'll leave it at that. Definitely. Just a reminder for everyone that we've recorded this webinar, and we'll put it up on the calq site ASAP with our show notes. and the links that Dixon that you've provided there, and also to the app, so we can all have a go on that as well.
Thank you. Thanks so much for coming in, guys. Hope it was interesting. Cheers. Bye-bye.